I wouldn't buy one.
I thought you liked it.
I do. But I'm going to outline now a few problems, OK? We'll start with the boot.
There isn't one. I mean, there isn't one. It's under here.
No, there's no point looking. That's your lot. It's basically a sort of baking tray above the engine, really. It's OK if you've got a handful of roast potatoes to carry around with you, but otherwise useless.
Yeah.
However, look at this. This is the Smart Roadster Coupe. Same engine, same roof arrangement, same everything, but if we open the back... Enough space for a whole sack full of King Edwards.
Well, there you go, then. That's your car. What's your problem?
No, won't buy one of these either.
The thing for me is still that gearbox. It's just hopeless. You know, the moment it builds up, the revs rise, you hit the lever and the whole world pauses with you and waits. Nothing happens for so long.
The thing is, it's a gearbox, OK? It has one job to do, one job.
Exactly.
Pull the lever. Am I a pencil? Am I a cauliflower? Am I a nuclear power station? I'm a gearbox! Oh, heavens, I'm swap some cogs around. It takes forever.
Precisely. It's not like it's working through a list. And the problem is you're going to be using it a lot because, obviously, that buzzy little 600cc engine, you're changing gear all the time to do
I was
that.
wrong. Admission time. It's actually a 700cc engine.
Oh, well.
Makes all the difference. It's 0.7 of a litre.
Yeah, that is still very small, and it still has Hugh Grant as a gearbox.
Yeah. It's a pity, really, because we like the Smart, but we think not. The thing is it's not my sort of car. But then we do differ, don't we?
That's why I like it.
Yeah, exactly. You just look at what I say and go, he's wrong.
I looked in Auto Trader and I thought, what wouldn't Jeremy buy out of all these cars? That one.
Yeah, I respect that in a man. I really do.
I think you may be missing an essential point, though, Jeremy.
Comfy, though, but this sort of thing. What like this?
This is the one with the firm suspension, actually.
No, is it really?
Yeah,
the T is for firm suspension.
It's got something rather preposterously called the Harvey Bailey Handling Kit.
Harvey Bailey didn't know anything about suspension either, by the looks of things.
Despite all that, I think, well, let's say, of all the cars in this studio, this one is actually the cheapest.
No, it's not. The Smart's cheaper. That's 30. It's £500 cheaper. You can have a Smart.
OK, well...
Which doesn't do this.
This would have been cheaper. This would have been cheaper if I'd not felt sorry for the bloke who was selling it and haggled a bit more.
That's a British disease.
It is a British disease.
Well, I feel really sorry for him, yeah.
Am I right in saying this car is so cool that most people, by which I mean Jeremy, don't realise it yet?
Yeah. OK, hands up if you think it's a cool car. Yes. That's 1, 2, 3. What was particularly good about the Peel is it only had one headlamp.
It did.
So if you're driving down a road and you saw one coming toward you, you think, that's a motorbike. Jesus, it's a car!
In third place, the Vauxhall Vectra.
Obviously, yeah.
I've said. In second place, the Suzuki X90.
I remember road testing that on old Top Gear, and we filmed it all at night. Because I didn't want people to see me in it.
Absolutely.
BMW had the best brains in the business. They had this wonderful-looking body. They had the engine from an M5, a trick rear axle. They even got James Bond to drive one. It should have been spectacularly good. But that's just what they were expecting it to be. Instead, it turned out to be awful. Let me show you what it was like to drive. Yes, this is exactly what a Z8 feels like to drive. It's that same sense of, ooh, what's going to happen next? The problem was, they didn't know what they wanted the Z8 to be. Sports car, muscle car, boulevard cruiser. And it's ended up as a sort of brownie green mush of all three. I can't believe how light this door is. You know those little tights cars that all kids have? The red ones with the yellow roof door? That's what this feels like. Let's watch this, right? Still, it should pay dividends where it matters. Here. One of the worst things about the old Jag was filling it up. It used to zzz all the time. This, though, going in smoothly so far. That's a big improvement. I don't think its bonnet is onyx enough. If you are interested in aesthetics, a bit of advice, you've got to either have a Sport or the XJR like I've got here, because if you buy the SE, you get the worst radiator grille in the world. And SEs, the wheels are too narrow on them, so they look pinched, like Joyce Grenfell. Except not just pinched, they've also got that silly grille, so they look like that.
Then the rest of the range does have a problem. Can you do it for us? It's almost exactly like that. Isn't that uncanny? That's incredible, Jeremy.
That is the most... Isn't that a dreadful grille?
It is a disaster.
Just say yes, Jeremy.
I have found a dealer who, for 250 quid, that's 250 quid, will put you the XJR grille on any XJ.
Really?
That kind
Yes.
of admits it's wrong, but I reckon if it's got that standard grille on, I'm afraid with the Jeremy's face grille on it, that's uncool. Sorry, just such a small thing spoils it.
Exactly. Now, would you buy the Jag in preference to anything else?
Yeah, I'm a Jag man, yes.
Yeah, so would I. You?
Well, I definitely wouldn't buy the 7 Series BM. No, it's too ugly. Audi AA isn't quite there yet. S-Class Mercedes...
Merchant banker.
Merchant banker, yeah. Very much a merchant banker's car. So, yeah, I would have the Jag. Now, with most convertibles, the windscreen is sort of here. But this is like a convertible people carrier. Got this huge dashboard that people can play football on. You need binoculars to see if the wipers are working.
And that leaves us with the Ford Street Car. Now, it is a very, very good little car. It does everything it sets out to do, and it does it very well.
Are there any men here who would think of buying this car?
Precisely. Would you? Anybody?
No? OK, now, this being a Top Gear audience, you're all car enthusiasts, so I know you haven't got wives or girlfriends. So you brought your sisters with you. What about the girls? Hands up, all the girls who would like to have this car. Oh, sort of, that's why. Are there any girls who wouldn't? You? Well, put your hand up, then. It's not a difficult instruction. It's the trouble, brothers and sisters, they're all related. It's true, I was talking the other day to a guy from Ford. I don't know who he was, wore a suit, had biscuits in meetings. Anyway, he said 80% of these are going to be sold to women. So who's going to buy the other 20%?
It may not be a Ferrari, but, James, I'm with you on this one. I've driven the little Khaleesi, and I think it's great. And, you know, I love the little noises it makes. Because that little 3-cylinder engine, brrr, and I even love the clang when you slam the doors. Yeah. I like that.
I know, it's a great car
You
with
weren't
new car
strictly
smell.
honest, though, because that's not the £5,000 one, is it?
No, I did come over a bit sort of aspirational at the last minute, and I got the GX with electric windows and two-tone seat upholstery. It's, well, £5,800.
Which is still fantastic.
Brilliant.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's made in a jungle clearing by someone who went to work on an ox.
No, I think you're completely missing the point. I'm siding with him on this one. I think it's a cracking little car. That is a good car.
Well, I can't be bothered to argue anymore. It may well be nice to drive, but I'm going to do a little experiment. I've got the keys for it here, OK? And, OK, you, all right? How do I say it?
Perodua.
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 Perodua. OK, what's this? Perodua Khaleesi, eh? Nothing.
Yeah, all right.
Absolutely no response. Now, as I'm sure you know, we're not fans of diesel on this programme. We think it is the fuel of Satan. But in the summer, I drove one of these. It's the E-Class Mercedes Diesel Saloon. And then I noticed something strange. These are the figures, OK? This is the petrol one, this is the diesel. The diesel is more powerful, same 0 to 60, faster, much more economical, cheaper, and, as far as I could tell, no noisier. And that got me thinking, maybe, while I've been wearing my blinkers, something strange has happened. Maybe all diesel cars are now OK. This is a diesel-powered Volkswagen Lupo, so we all know what to expect. It'll make the sound of the farmyard and accelerates like a dog on a rug. Or is that wrong? Well, let's find out. Actually, I like the Lupo. I like its mad face and its tininess. Best of all, though, it doesn't feel like a small car. I know it's more expensive than all its rivals and the boot is pathetic, but there's an enormous amount of space up here and a sense of what the Germans call quality. Obviously, you shouldn't listen to those people who say, oh, we can't tell it's a diesel under the bonnet. Sounds just like a petrol, because it doesn't. It sounds like it's been fueled with sandpaper. But, crucially, it's not so noisy that I can't hear Ken Bruce's Popmaster.
Give me the titles of 3 UK single chart hits. 4 Squeeze. 3
Call for Cats, labelled with love, Up the Junction. Come on, useless man. Easy. I love people's faces in traffic jams. They always get so miserable. Could be worse. You could be shot in the back of the head by a marksman. Yes, almost certainly. Listen, the thing is, it is faster. I promise you, James.
I promise you it isn't. Well, I organised a race this morning around the track. In the wet, the petrol lupo was 6 seconds quicker. That is eternity.
On the motorway, 50 to 70, you put your foot down in the diesel and the bloke in the petrol one's fishing around. And also, if I can just think back to when you were driving that 5 Series, you said you were driving the 3-litre petrol, you've driven the 3-litre diesel, and I'm quoting, and it was astonishing.
Yeah, the big 3-litre BMW engine is astonishing, as that Mercedes one is that you drove, but on a small hatchback, OK? When you drive one of those and it's a diesel, it says 3 things about you. One is, you're tighter than 2 coats of paint. The second one is that you care so much about the environment that you want to leave a little protective sooty film over it. And the third one is, you're probably French.
I've suddenly remembered why I don't like talking to you. So I'm going to go and talk to my best friend, the little one.
Here's another new Ford. It's called the Vsauce, and look at this shape. Very cutting edge, and then the interior. Wow, and those dials, they're all spangly, clever, up-to-the-minute computer stuff. And there's no mirrors. Look, cameras instead. Oh, yeah. It's a very modern car, no doubt. But look a bit more closely. And look, there's these grills on the flank, and then the shape of this window. Now, you can't fool me. If Ford ever actually make this car for real, this is the new Capri, no doubt about it.
Tell you what, though, you know in the olden days when people actually had Capris, they always had the bonnet up on a Saturday tinkering around with the engine.
Fettling.
Exactly. Well, nowadays, people always fiddle around with computers.
Yeah.
So what this has got, which is amazing, well, if they ever get round to putting a bonnet in it, which they haven't at the moment, it'll have a... port thing. You put your laptop in it and you'll be able to adjust like the rev limiter and the suspension settings and everything.
But it goes further than that. It's very clever because once you've got your laptop plugged in, you can then log on to the internet and you can actually download specifications and settings direct from Ford, and better than that even, you can then exchange data with your mates and their Vsauce.
So if you got one, I could set the rev limit at like 1,500 RPM. Have the headlamps flash every time we went above 10.
Not quite what they meant there, really.
Or even better, if you get stuck behind one on the road, what you could do is dial up its computer from your laptop, Bluetooth, mobile phone, speed him up a bit. 150, and then just apply one of the rear brakes.
Yeah, that's just stupid. It's stupid.
Were you in any way unwell when you recorded that?
Well, actually, I did have a really bad dose of the pox.
That explains it. Because anybody whose eyes were working properly would recognise that this is the ugliest thing. It is!
It is a
It's the first
superb-looking
car
car.
ever where children will be sick before they get in the back.
Rubbish.
We'll have a vote.
All right.
Hands up, everyone who thinks it's ugly. I didn't prompt them or anything. Now hands up those who think it's not ugly. You see, all the ones who've left their glasses at home.
All right, all right. You are an executive. This is going to take a bit of imagination. You're an executive, OK, and you're going to buy a new car. You're not going to buy that S-Type Jag, are you? It's a great drive, but you wouldn't let your kids sit around with their mouths open like that.
No.
E-Class Mercedes. Now, you've got a Mercedes. How much have you enjoyed it over the summer?
No, I haven't. It's been in the shop the entire time. It goes in, it's broken, it comes back more broken and goes in again. That's pretty much Mercedes ownership.
So you're not having one of those?
No.
You're not having an Audi A6 because it's too old?
No.
You're not having a Kia Magentis because it's stupid? No, you wouldn't.
No, you're right, I wouldn't.
And you're not going to have an Alpha 166 because nobody would buy a new one.
Yeah.
You, Jeremy Clarkson, you are the European Director of Photocopying, brackets, toner distribution. You will buy one of these.
I've suddenly decided I don't want to talk to you anymore.